Have a long-term discussion about picking up these cards. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more on content. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the ice barrier stuff here. And I've been asked actually a lot this week, hey Robbie, should I be picking up ice barrier dual terminal stuff? Well, the first thing I can tell you is if you wanted to pick up any of this stuff, you're late. Effectively, the time would have been to do it Friday morning, but unfortunately, not everybody gets the chance to do that. Medallions have already shot up in price. I mean, if you're looking at budget dory options for the decks, obviously 3 ice barrier structure decks does kind of pick you up, but who knows where they're going to put this new ice barrier support in the OCG. So, I mean, the biggest questions you got to ask yourself are, Ice Shade ran a grind is going to be one of the biggest things that you actually want to be focusing on right now, because it's a free water extender that gives ice barrier effectively so much extension power that it really helps out the deck a lot. I think a lot of people underestimate that little splash of power that the Ice Jade stuff feeds in to the ice barrier cards. So that's a really big thing right now. Is dual terminal pickups are huge. If you can find, something like General Ryo would be one of the most important cards to find. Ice barrier medallions in the upgrade from one of the worst sets of all time. Thank you, Chapter 1. Konami's actually trying to prepare us for that, and everybody was like, no, this set is literal butt. Never again. And then to top things off, Ice Jade stuff has already started to go up in price because of this. But for long term, I mean, those are the big things you should focus on wanting to have, because those are going to be the most interactable cards. I mean, obviously, secondary Fligate, I think it's medium of the ice barrier, is another thing to look at for the long term haul, but ice barrier power-ups, those 4 cards are insane, alright? But most of you should have already got this from reading those cards. Next up is the Infernoid high-end things. Oh boy. This was actually disgusting to me. When we first saw the Infernoid stuff, Tiaras and Anakus, you already know, the classic Ultimate Rare collectors started grabbing this stuff off the top shelves. They're like, oh yes, I'm super excited. We can finally replay this stuff. The fusion is bonkers. I'm going to give that to them, all right? Like, that's amazing. In fact, it's an instant fusion target, too. But these are all things that we know. So long term, is it worth it to pick it up? Well, the thing is, we probably know that Konami's going to reprint this stuff at some point. That's the biggest thing. But it comes down to the same discussion point that we just had with the ice barrier stuff. The cost of the higher rarity stuff is going to be worth it if you want your deck to look nice. If not, you can settle on some sort of low rarity stuff. Now, back to my original point here. Where's Konami going to reprint this stuff? Is this going to be like a side set? Is this going to be like a Ghost from the Past 3 type of thing? Ghost for a Tiara would be hot. I don't think you can disagree with me on that. Avoid Imagination. Imagination Station as a Ghost Rare would also look absolutely amazing. It's not going to happen, but could you imagine how nice that could look? But that's a story for another day. So right now, the cost of the high rarity stuff is up, but once again, it comes down to what you yourself as a player want. Good news is probably everything Infernoid will get reprinted, so the lower end stuff should be knocked off of its podium. Honestly, Imagination Station should not be anywhere near the price point that it is. All of the Void stuff should never have been at the expensive point it is, but Konami's just like, we don't really have a need to reprint this stuff at this point in time, so maybe they will take some sort of note for this. We have to be very patient and see, but we're very far away from the notion of this stuff, I think, actually touching down in the TCG. Next up is Giant Trainer itself. I sound like a broken record every one of these videos that we're just like, hey, Giant Trainer, hey, Giant Trainer, you should probably be looking at Giant Trainer. You know what? As of filming this, Giant Trainers in the Secret Rare categories have already exceeded a price point that they should have never exceeded. They're $32.50 right now for Giant Trainers. All right. Good news is you can still pick up commons from the OTS over $10, or you can pick up a German Super for $8.41 to $9. But bad news is I don't want to play foreign cards. They're so disgusting. Well, that's fine. Go pick up your common so you can do your thing. We've talked about the application for this card. We know that this card is going to be good in Horus. All right, I'm 2 months in on this discussion. I've uploaded playtesting videos of me going first with Horus, drawing all these cards. And everybody's just like, oops, oh man, Horus? I've never heard of that deck before. And I'm like, I've given you the tools. You've been aware of this. You've seen the hype coming a million miles away if you paid attention on this channel. It amazes me more and more as we go through these discussion points and people like, oh yeah, I didn't want to pick it up. I didn't believe in it. Oh, wow. You didn't tell me about that. Educating yourself is one of the hardest things in this game, man. It amazes me that people, they just will kick buckets and just be like, oh, there's no point to picking it up. Well, now you're paying the price. Or, if you actually had those sitting around, that's where you got rewarded. I actually think it's super disgusting at the price point that stuff has started to jump up to. So, well, without further claim here, if you're planning on playing Horus, you're going to be paying some interesting price points on that. I'm also curious to know where Konami could actually reprint Giant Trainer. They're fully aware that it does need one at this point, right? Next up is the White Aura stuff. So this is going to include White Aura Whale, White Aura Bahamut, the White Aura, Dolphin. Just full disclaimer here. I mean, we just got the little water support coming out of the last set here. And White Aura Whale's kind of got interesting. It's bumping back up from the price point that it's been. And we're seeing people out here starting to spend $10 to $12 per copy of these, and they are moving up. Now, to be fair, I mean, Fish Support just got the best eats of its life, but it's all stuff that is generically working with all of the water cards. Unfortunately, Whale was in Light's Revenge, which means it probably will get some sort of reprint here in the future. I wouldn't be surprised to actually see this get a reprint in the upcoming Battles of Legend. We're going to reprint everything edition set. So, with that being said, I would keep an eye on the rest of the White Aura stuff. I think that's probably the most important thing here, because it just takes one person to figure out something, and then all of a sudden, all of the White Aura cards, all the White Mirror, things like that could start to resonate in some sort of price point, and then people are going to be like, oh, this is not going to be something that I really want to focus on right now. That's fine, but you've been made aware that there are movements on the White Aura Whale stuff. I don't know. I'd keep an eye on the other shark cards as well. Everything in general in the fish department has some sort of chance to kind of go a little bit more terminal right now because of that last round of support. Especially the sharks, man. Ah, man, I fear for a day that sharks become a tier 1 potential deck where Yu-Gi-Oh players are just losing their minds out here, because that's going to be a very scary day. Next up is staples. So mainly we're going to be talking about Thrust here. Talents, Pot of Prosperity. Guess what? We do have the Pot Collection coming here in the near future, but with that Pot Collection brings a whole new wave of people going, ooh, I need these staples now. Give them to me. And people are starting to pay these outlandish prices for these things. And it's not going good. It's not going good at all. I mean, obviously, we do have Rarity Collection coming down the pipeline here, and that'll fix things like Ash, but those are for the staples that are already cheap. There are cards that do currently exist in the game that are only available in really the current block of things. So until something gets said reprint here, you kind of got to ask yourself, what do we do? Is it worth it? And if it's expensive, man. I know we do have more Pot of Prosperities coming, once again with the Pot Collection, at least on that front, but I don't think you're going to be able to get these anywhere at what I'd consider super affordable prices. And that's really, really disappointing at the moment. So, yeah, the staples that were already very expensive are continuing to ramp up. Even Chaos Angel is kind of getting a little bit thicker out here because, it is considered an extra deck staple for some of these more chaotic decks that do need to take advantage of these. So, those are things right now I'd consider keeping an eye on, and it's not good, that's for sure. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.